Good evening, dear friends, and welcome to day 225 of a poem a day for 2026. I'm recording on Wednesday, but for you, it's actually Thursday. I'm coming to you from the past. Yep, 2 days in a row for that joke. Obviously, this is much more recently in the past than suggested in yesterday's video. Yeah. We went in a bit of a weird place there, didn't we? I say we like I'm bringing you along on my weird train. But I guess you're kind of already there if you're 225 days into poetry with me. I need to go to bed. That's what I need to do. I need to have some dinner and go to bed. But yeah. Fingers crossed that Thursday has been kind to you, that you don't have heat stroke, that I don't have heat stroke, that we've all managed to stay hydrated, and yeah. Sitting here on Wednesday, I'm already concerned about tomorrow. But I think me and the cats are going to be okay. It drops down to 29 on Friday, which sounds, quite frankly, delightful comparatively. And I looked at the 10-day forecast, and next Thursday it's going to be 19 degrees, which feels just ridiculous. 36 degrees one Thursday, 19 the next. That's... who knows? But we're not... this isn't a weather channel. It's a poetry channel. I do apologise that I keep going on about the weather, or rather specifically the heat. I know I've talked before a lot about that I'm on a lot of medication. Sorry, at least 2 of the meds that I take rob me of my ability to regulate my body temperature. And that's the whole spectrum of temperature. So like I do struggle in the winter as well. But it means that when it gets kind of... my tolerance does seem to have improved a bit. But anything over sort of like 23, 24, and I really start to suffer. So it's a very prevalent thought in my mind. So it tends to be something I talk about a lot, so I apologise. Hopefully things are starting to settle down, so I'll talk about it less. But today we have an author who I love. I do have some books coming from her soon. I'll talk more about that afterwards. 13th of August, we have a poem called Shakespeare at School by Wendy Cope. And our blurb reads as follows. Here is another sonnet, this time following directly in the footsteps of its subject, Shakespeare. Though Cope characterises Shakespeare's wordplay as idiotic, punning, she is clearly in awe of the great playwright. After all, her sonnet ends with its own pun. So, this is Shakespeare in School by Wendy Cope. 40 boys on benches with their quills, 6 days a week through almost all the year. Long hours of Latin with relentless drills, and repetition, all enforced by fear. I picture Shakespeare sitting near the back, indulging in a risky bit of fun, by exercising his prodigious knack of thinking up an idiotic pun, and whispering his gem to other boys, some of whom could not suppress their mirth, behaviour that unfailingly annoys. any teacher anywhere on earth. The fun was over when the master spoke. Will Shakespeare come up here and share the joke? Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. A wonderful friend of mine, got to know him for years. He a couple of months ago, had a very beloved family member pass away. And they had quite a large selection of poetry books. And he contacted me to ask, with the knowledge that I have this channel, to ask if I would like any. While the family were, I think, sort of clearing out the house and sort of going through things, I think by the sounds of things, the books may have just been intended to go to sort of charity shops, that kind of thing, possibly sort of like library donations, as their next step in life, and I was like, yeah, how much? And he was like, gift. He's like, it's just, I think it's possibly his grandmother. It's like she loved them, and would just be happy to know they were going to somebody who would give them another great home and would love them anew. And I was deeply touched by that. So he got some photos of all the books, kind of all laid out, and asked me to. He was like, if any of these take your interest, let me know, and we'll get them packed up. He's like, and eventually we'll get them round to you. And there was a number of Wendy Cope collections, and some other bits and pieces, and I was like, 100%. I can't for the life remember how many I said yes to, but yeah, they're obviously still sorting everything. But hopefully, in the not too distant future, I will be the very proud owner of some very much loved books of poetry, which I look forward to sharing with you all. Yeah, it does, as always, when we lose loved ones, and kind of the process of going through things happens. It definitely made me think, because I am not the sort of person to get rid of books, although I largely now, almost, not quite exclusively, but probably 80% of my reading is audiobooks now, just because of the ADHD of it all, and I really struggle with the concentration, and the needing to do multiple things at once, for the stimulation. I cannot get rid of books. I'm a bit of a dragon in that way. I hoard. Not a hoarder, but I hoard books. I've got two rather full bookshelves. Got kind of like eaves in the corner of my living room on the back wall. And like, I don't, by no means do I have a library. But they're very healthy bookshelves. But yeah, I do wonder. Might have to make decisions about where they'll go. Yeah, but that's a while away, and there's probably plenty of time for me to if I put my mind to it, well, put my mind to it, I can't force your way through a disability. But maybe if I were to try and give myself some grace, I might be able to read through things, give everything the once over, which would be nice. It'd be really nice, actually. Something to aim for. Yeah. Well, dear friends, I am going to go and stand outside because it looks like it's cooled down considerably. It's coming up for about 8:30 here. I think the eclipse has probably passed. I've seen some photos on social media, friends who have shared images, and it did get it looked almost kind of overcast here, but I suspect it does look kind of cloudy. I suspect there wasn't actually much visibility here. But yeah, if you saw or spent time seeing the eclipse yesterday, then I hope it was a wonderful experience shared with friends and loved ones, marvelling at the universe around us. Until tomorrow, dear friends, here's hoping that we can all get comfortable in this heat, and fingers crossed, have a very good night.